What's good, everyone? Excited to record a video again for you guys. Publish this on Wednesday. It's been hard to, I guess, find a time and a place to record, so I'm at the library today and I found some time to turn on the camera. You know, this week has been pretty rough for me. It's been very, very bumpy, as you can see by my P&L. I mean, green and red, and then green and red and green. So not the best. I think one thing that I've been struggling with is trying not to be super greedy. You know, obviously this week has not been like last week in the sense that we were just having just straight green days back to back to back. Ever since that BOJ news came out, we've been recovering extremely fast, especially on some oversold names like Nvidia. I think was at the forefront of you know, the very green weekly candle we had last week. But you know, this week there's been a lot of chop. I mean, if you look at yesterday was pretty rough for me. Just very large moves up and then down. Is my brightness up? Yeah, it is. Actually curl this down. But yeah, very large moves up and down. And these aren't small moves, by the way. These are, I think this is definitely over a 1% move on the NASDAQ, and you know, presents a lot of opportunity if you aren't super greedy. So it's very important for me to protect my capital, and also for you guys to not be greedy and take profits when you see them. This week I'm also leaning bullish just because, I mean, earnings came out good. We're getting good data points. Obviously there's that looming concern over geopolitics, which will always be there. And so there's no reason to be super bullish just because, you know, one CNN article and you're basically cooked, right? But yeah, leaning bullish. I think we can hit 485.77 end of week, barring anything crazy. Obviously we have unemployment claims, and we also have Jackson Hole coming up before the end of the week. And so I'm trying not to swing anything. I didn't swing anything today. I actually had one runner left on some calls that expired tomorrow that I cut, I think, down 9% on, and I'm fine doing that just because I don't want to hold this overnight and just pray that you know unemployment claims comes out good. But yeah, like I said, leaning bullish, and I don't see a reason why we would dump. As far as how I expect Jackson Hole to turn out, I think that, you know, we're gonna expect what we normally see from Powell, where he mentions price stability and protecting Americans and whatever. You know, he's typically more hawkish and dovish, but I think it's just very hard to be hawkish given the data points that have come out. I mean, he can just, I guess, remain very reserved in his stance, in the sense that he's not super expressive with his thoughts, and rightfully so. I mean, he shouldn't come out here and say that numbers are coming out good and they're gonna, you know, possibly cut aggressively, because that could be a very bad situation that results in some sort of positive feedback loop. So a lot of negative implications. So all in all, I expect Powell to be very reserved, as he always is. And yeah, I'm not sure exactly where the market will be headed, honestly, after his comments, but we'll just have to see and play it by ear. You know, something interesting that I pointed out, I think, on my Twitter, but I wanted to ask you guys, and feel free to leave a comment, you know, about your thoughts on this below. But it seemed like 2 years ago, obviously, when the market was very low and inflation was rampant, you know, good news was, or bad news was good news, in the sense that, you know, we saw unemployment data coming out higher than expected, right? The unemployment was higher than expected. That would be great, because, you know, the Fed is looking for a weakening market before he can even consider cutting rates, because he doesn't want to overstimulate the market. I get that. But, you know, we saw last week where unemployment claims actually came out stronger than expected, where there were less people filing for unemployment than expected, and the market pumped off that. I believe that was August 19th. And so that was interesting to me. I think that now the market has shifted from a perspective of, you know, bad is good and we need this market to cool off before we can expect interest rate cuts, to this, I think the market is expecting a win-win scenario, where, or essentially a Goldilocks scenario, where we're getting interest rate cuts, right, from the Fed, and we're also maintaining a resilient market where we don't fall into recession, essentially, right? If they're hiring more people, that can, that can be an indicator of resilience in the economy, with job growth not really slowing down. And so I'm kind of interested in your thoughts. Maybe I'm misinterpreting the news and whatnot, and if that's the case, feel free to educate me. But it's just interesting how the tides have turned essentially on that. And I guess maybe that's just because data has turned around from bad to good, and we're headed in the right direction, and we're getting greedy in terms of what we want to happen. And so maybe the market's pricing in a lot more than they should be. But yeah, like I said, I'm not an economist. I don't go to school to study economics, but it interests me. So if I'm interpreting this wrong, feel free to let me know in the comments. I wanted to point out, Bitcoin looks pretty good today. It's up 4%, and I think ever since the BOJ news, I think that was a large overreaction. I mean, we saw cryptocurrency dump a lot, and I think it can recover a lot. So it's up around 4% today. Of course, it can dump 4% tomorrow. Very, very volatile, but I think Coinbase is a good long-term buy here. I actually bought some around 200, I believe. Not today, actually, a few days ago, I think last week sometime. But yeah, I think if we can get a recovery, I'm confident that we will get a breakout move on Bitcoin. And I think it'll happen before December, just within 2024. Of course, maybe it won't, but I think there's good risk to reward on Coinbase. I think we can head back up at least to 260s, which would present a 20 to 30% return on just shares alone. So that's, I think, a really good opportunity. Of course, sized proportionally, Bitcoin as a whole, cryptocurrency as a whole is pretty risky stuff. So good opportunity there, though, nonetheless. And yeah, that's essentially all I have. I guess I can break down my trades the past few days or so. I'm not sure if I already mentioned this, but yesterday I didn't do well at all. I lost a good amount of money just because, I'm getting wicked out here. One thing, like I said, I have to do better on is be more greedy and be more patient with setups. A lot of times I enter at open and, I go long, and then we get just random, like 1% wick down on the NASDAQ, which is just crazy. But that's what we're dealing with right now, a lot of uncertainty and volatility. So just got to be a bit more patient with setups. That's what I'm struggling with. And yeah, just take profits when I see them. If you guys want me to start a challenge where I need to make, like, let's say 10 grand by December, I'd be very interested in starting that. I don't like showing numbers, so this is probably gonna be the only time I do it, unless you guys want that challenge or you guys want me to, just because I don't think it serves either of us well. It doesn't serve me well at all. I feel like when I show numbers on a screen, the next day I have to beat that or match it, right? And that's not a good system, because you're not gonna win every single day. So yeah, this week has been, like I said, relatively flat. I've been withdrawing funds, so it's not like I trade with 1,500 or whatever like I started with, but I've been withdrawing capital, just being a bit more conservative. So if you guys want me to start some sort of challenge like that or anything else, let me know in the comments. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hopefully I'll post again probably next week, I'd imagine. Maybe I'll post again tomorrow or Friday. We'll see. If there's enough demand for it, I'm very happy to do so. If there's not, then it'll be hard for me to get myself to do it. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. See you guys in the next video.